Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Couples Academy show. Today is Friday, which means it is Ask the Experts, and we're excited about it because we have one of the most powerful practitioners on our team, Walter and Charmaine Jennings. They are, I'm telling you, they are killing it in this game. They've been in this line of work for many, many, many years. They have a unique specialty. Matter of fact, before we get into the questions, I want to have a quick conversation with them, but make sure you do this. You like, share, and subscribe. Let your world know that our world is live right now so that we can connect. Also, Last Chance Weekend coming up May 19th through the 21st. If you haven't registered, there's still time to get in. So make sure you do that. But as we're having these conversations, if questions come to you, come on, post them in so that we could speak to them. But Walter and Charmaine, to have you both on is a special time. I want you to do me a favor and introduce yourself to those who may not be familiar with you two.
Absolutely. So my name is Walter Jennings.
My name is Charmaine Jennings.
And we are Couples Academy practitioners. We have been with Couples Academy for the past almost year and a half now. And we actually, as Hassan mentioned, we came into this with our own experience as far as with the area of focus being more on the premarital side. So more proactive, preventative work for individuals that are going into marriage and those individuals that are focused on their individual growth. And so that has really been a passion for us. And so we're very excited because with working with Couples Academy, what it has actually done is reinforce the importance of that proactive work. And as couples are thinking about and going into marriage, making sure that they're having those courageous conversations, that they are taking certain things into consideration, that they have the strategies and the tools to really combat some of the issues that are going to take place. So the Bible says that the rain falls on the just and the unjust. What that means is that inevitably, problems and challenges are going to come, no matter how much you love your spouse, no matter how strong your relationship is, as far as you are working together, there are going to be some issues that you're going to walk through. And the question becomes, do you have the tools and the strategies in order to combat those things when they happen?
Absolutely. And, one thing that makes us really excited about this work, it infuses culture. It infuses the uniqueness of how each of us individually, we all have a fingerprint, right? And so you're bringing that uniqueness into the relationship. And so we love really helping people understand that we'll meet couples that say, oh, we know each other. And by the time we get done doing a trauma assessment, a personality profile, I mean, we get deep into your culture, your deep-rooted culture. And couples realize, wow, there's a lot more to learn because we are evolving. And there is no way to really fully know everything about a person before you walk into the I do process.
Now, first of all, I would say about 90% of attendees who come to a Last Chance Weekend or do a private marriage intensive all say, 90% of them say, man, I wish we had this before we got married. I wish we knew this before we walked down the aisle, before we said I do. And for some reason, I don't know why a value isn't placed on it. Maybe because they're still in that in love, infatuation type phase of the relationship, and they don't think they need it, even though marriages are falling apart all around them. They believe that they're uniquely different and won't face some of the same challenges. How do you encourage someone who's not married yet to make the decision, to make the investment in their future by taking advantage of your services?
So Hassan, you bring up a great point because we did the research, right? And on average, couples will spend $3,000 to $7,000 on the engagement. Not talking about the wedding. They will spend $3,000 to $7,000 on the engagement. That includes the ring. For an actual wedding, they will spend anywhere between $25,000 to $30,000 on average for a wedding. Now, marriages normally last around 8 years, like 8.2 years, right? And then when the marriage dissolves, they will spend anywhere between $15,000 to $25,000 on a divorce. So the challenge is that it's not that they are not spending the money, it's that they're making the investment into the wedding more than they are the marriage. So part of our responsibility is really highlighting that and not saying we're not saying not to make the investment into the wedding. It is to be celebrated. It is to be enjoyed. You want it to be an unforgettable experience because it's the merging together of families and cultures. So it is something very important to do, but do not make that type of investment in your wedding without looking at the investments and the important things that need to be made in the fabric of your marriage.
Absolutely. I mean, you take a poll. How many of us you miss your health insurance while we have insurance, right? And how many of you you missed your wellness exam? I mean, the exam that comes with your insurance. Did you do the preventative work for your dental work, or for your health care, or for this appointment, or that your well visit, right? And so, wow, these things are really what you pay for part on the front end of your insurance. And so, having premarital counseling, it is you investing on the front end, being proactive, making sure you get the wellness check individually. Am I well? And what are my areas that I'm going to need the support in? Because your partner, you want them to be the number one advocate for your wellness, your spiritual, your physical, emotional, all of the different areas of wellness. And there are about 10 dimensions. So you want to make sure you're doing a wellness check before you walk into your relationship individually. That way your partner can consciously say, I am going to be your number one advocate and support for your growth, development, and wellness plan as we enter into life, doing life together, and vice versa. And then, of course, those are they're those collective things that both of you will do together. But it's important. Your partner will support you looking good and support doing these things, but are they a champion for your wellness, your growth, and your development? And so a lot of those things come out during pre-marriage counseling.
Wow, you talk about wellness and the importance of understanding, are you good in so many different areas. One of the things we talk about is becoming a student of your spouse, but this process that you take them through allows them to become a student of their spouse and to know who their partner really is. But even more so, understanding who you are. A lot of us are oblivious to who we are. What do we think? What do we feel? What are our beliefs? Why do I do the things that I do? And you bring that out in this process. So not only do I get a chance to discover me, I get a chance to now reintroduce myself to you, so we know what we're dealing with before we say I do. But then the question becomes, wait a minute, I'm already married and I don't have any of the things that you've been talking about. Do you provide these services for those who have already walked down that aisle?
Absolutely. So what we do is what we propose, as Charmaine began to allude to, is what is called a marriage wellness check. And it is akin to when we were talking about cars before we came on the line, right? And so with your vehicle, right, when you buy it and drive it off the lot, you don't not take it back to the dealership or wherever you go for an oil change or for maintenance. And you definitely don't want to just wait until there is a problem. Every 3,000 miles, they advise you to go and make sure that you get your oil changed, that you get a check-in, that you get your levels kind of topped off, right? And so that is something that we strongly recommend for couples that are currently married. Even though things may be going good, the children may be settled, we're in a good place. Every couple of months, whether it is quarterly, whether it is semi-annually, you're checking in, making sure you're confirmed with a specialist to ensure that there aren't some underlying things that are not being said. And Hassani, while we're here, I want to make this point as well. So there are a lot of individuals, obviously, when we think about Couples Academy and the amazing work that we do when it comes to infidelity recovery and marriage recovery. And again, you may be listening to this like, we're already married. You have a responsibility, especially now that you're on the other side of your situation, to then help others that you know that may be single, that may be thinking about getting married, to do preventative work, to say, listen, Couples Academy is the place to be as it relates to getting the information to make sure that as you're considering marriage and going into the relationship, that you have the proper and the right information and the strategies and the tools.
So the best gift, I mean, you want to go buy that appliance, you're going to buy them this beautiful crystal vase for the wedding. No. Invest in the next couple, right? Make that deposit into not their love story, their life story. Okay? So this is their life, the person that they are giving power of attorney to over their life. So we're encouraging you. That is one of the best gifts you can give to your children, your children's children, a family, a friend, etc.
You know, I've been married for 20 years, but I want to sign up for this program. Listen, if you don't know, we've been sharing this commercial over the last couple of days. We're about to show it again, and then we're going to dive into some questions. But tell them quickly about the program you have coming up, and then we'll share the video with them.
Absolutely. So Synthesize is a 12-week premarital counseling program. We go through, again, as Charmaine mentioned, we're going to get all into your business, both individually and collectively. And we want to be clear, too, that this is a celebration of your relationship. So we're going to go all the way back to the phase when you are recording and dating. So we start with what is called a tuning talk, which is basically the point of why do you want to get married? And then we move into, how do you define marriage? What is it that you're hoping to actually get out of it? Because in the majority of these conversations and topics, what you'll find is that individually, you may have two different definitions of the same thing. We may have two different definitions of love and respect. We may have totally different core values or principles. So part of the premise of it, when we talk about things like finances and as Danielle likes to call your cultural family, your marinade, right? Which we believe a big part of that is your foundational family. What are some of those cultures and things that you may want to carry over with you into the relationship? And what are some of those things that may not necessarily serve your particular marriage well? How are you all going to deal with intimacy and sex when tragedies and when grief and when, again, those issues of life comes? How do you normally show up? What are some things that you generally exhibit, and having an open, honest conversation about those things?
And of course, we love to have fun now. So
Absolutely.
I mean, we have trivia, we have case studies, we incorporate media and the arts. We love the arts. So it is an art infused experience to really provide couples. If you're challenged with communication, we love using music. And so when you talk about if your value system was a music sound playlist or a soundtrack, what tracks would be on that to represent, you at your core and what you want your life story to be. And so we utilize various strategies to really help couples find the way that they communicate.
Wow, it sounds amazing. Let's go to this quick video that kind of walks through what you just shared.
What is the best gift or investment for a newly engaged couple?
What do couples really need? Proactive, transparent synergy. They need to synthesize a 12-week premarital group counseling experience that combines the mind, heart, mission, and vision for an effective future.
No matter the age or life experience, this research-based curriculum will help to increase marriage resilience by 30%. Why choose Synthesize for premarital counseling? 1, to better understand yourself and your partner, and to audit your past and present condition in order to be a proactive couple.
2, to engage in crucial conversations about finances, communication, sex, and intimacy, to be fully and completely transparent.
3, to develop a unified vision and mission in order to embody high levels of synergy.
Give the gift that builds proactive, transparent synergy. Synthesize.
Wow. I mean, I tell you, it's something that I'm excited about, and I know that our audience will be as well. So if that is you, because many of you who watch, you're not married yet. You've been in a long-term committed relationship, and that's a step or a stage that you want to enter into. And you want to make sure that you have a healthy foundation and you have people who are guiding you through that process. So we highly recommend joining Synthesize because it's going to be revolutionary. All right, we got a couple questions we're going to dive into. Let's go to the first one here. It says, how can I encourage my husband to articulate his love for me? He doesn't do it anymore like he used to. I asked him to, but he just refuses. I want you two to speak to that.
So I think one of the things that I would ask is he articulating it in a way that is not necessarily the preferred method that you would like for him to? So, and if so, are you able to really translate that? And so really, first of all, really scrutinize and take a look at that, because obviously when we talk about the 5 love languages, which is absolutely pertinent, we oftentimes will pigeonhole our partner into our love language, the preferred love language that we would like to be spoken to in, without taking into consideration their native love language as well. So if you haven't taken the assessment, making sure that you have done that so that you can really determine it. Is he not saying it at all? Or is he saying it in a way to where we're speaking 2 different languages now? And if the question, and if it is that he's not doing it at all or doing it in his language, then the real question is, how can I get him to communicate his love in my language? Now, the way that you do that, we encourage you, is by modeling the communication of love to your partner in your native love language. So modeling the behavior that you would like to have reciprocated to you.
Absolutely. And in the core, especially, I love to really speak to wives in this area. I believe when it comes to sometimes the conflicting communication of men and women, sometimes it goes back to those 2 things that we all desire: love and respect. And so you want love, right? And so, but he wants honor and respect. So I question and I ask you, are you honoring your husband? Are you affirming him? Are you articulating and affirming him, acknowledging him, embracing him? Are you building him up, right? And so when you honor and respect your husband, right, speaking to his heart, the core of what love is for him, then definitely he will express love. And so there's a combination of that modeling, but also, ladies, that honor and respect is big. And so I'm just going to ask you, what does respect look, feel, and sound like as you distribute it to your husband?
Yeah, powerful points. She went on to say, he used to write me letters, but says he won't do it since that was just when they were young teenagers.
Yeah. And so there's a really great phrase, right? That when husbands are not respected, they withhold love. And when wives are not loved, they will withhold respect. So it sounds like, again, it may be a situation where you all are on this cycle. And so as Charmaine mentioned, you may want to really take a look at when it comes to, if I'm not receiving love, am I being disrespectful? Are there some areas where there are some gaps that, again, I am not modeling the behavior or providing him with what is needed and the necessary ingredients to get exactly what it is that I need out of our interactions?
Well, we used to write love letters as well to each other. And you're right, because technology has really, we have so much access right now to quick and faster information than writing a letter and things like that. I also encourage, when we want to get back to some of those more traditional writing letters and the things that are starting to fade away in your relationship. I ask, are you a little bit too, we've been married about 23 years, right? And so they said sometimes we have to switch things up. So like when I go on a trip, he's like, oh man, I miss you. And I'm like, me too, right? And so sometimes we have to shake some things up in our relationship. Am I a little bit too predictable? Am I a little bit too, has our relationship grown stale, right? And so sometimes we just have to stir some things up. Maybe, you're always so available. Why does he need to write you a letter? You're always at home. I know where you are every minute of the day, right? So sometimes we want to spice some things up, and really just have a session to let's talk about, you are in a phase where you want romance. And that's really what you're speaking to. I want romance. I want to get back to that place. And, it seems like he may be a little bit comfortable. And so, yeah, just communicating that and can be a very powerful thing.
Listen, what powerful answers. Listen, we're going to go to a quick break. Stay right there, and we'll come back with more questions.
Welcome to the Couples Academy app. The Couples Academy app is your go-to hub for how to do marriage right. Get started with our app today by perusing our amazing features that conveniently allow you to connect. This app is packed with powerful content and resources to help you grow and stay connected. With this app, you can watch our messages, find marriage resources, watch, listen, and read the real-life stories of restored couples, sign up for events, read articles and blog posts, stay up to date with push notifications, share your favorite messages via Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or email, and download messages for offline listening. For more information about the Couples Academy app, go to couplesacademy.org.
Hey guys, you're watching the Couples Academy show. I've got Walter and Charmaine Jennings with us today answering questions. I have a couple of questions, but before I do, I want to go to this comment. Renee says, Couples Academy has changed my life. I too wish I had the services sooner. Last Chance Weekend, Moving Forward, and Unearthed are all programs I've been in, worth every penny. I appreciate you sharing that. And I think that's the sentiment of quite a few people who have really done the necessary work to experience change and transformation. I have a question for you. So people who are preparing to be married, most of us have endured challenges and struggles within the relationship. You know, typically we say, man, you've been married long enough, you're going to experience some things. But there have been people who have experienced things in their regular dating, courtship, or committed relationship phase. So we talk about these 4 seasons: the dating season, committed courtship, engagement, and marriage, right? 3 seasons before I do. What if those seasons were turbulent? What if you face pain and betrayals, and now you have trust issues? Do you address how to overcome the pain of the past so you're not haunted by the ghosts of your relational past once you say I do?
Absolutely. You know, in the program, we specifically have a module where we talk about, you know, trauma and really asking you to audit the things of your past so that you do enter into your marriage aware, aware, confident, and clear about the ongoing work that not only you will have to do individually, but also again your partner. You want to see where they are and how they feel about supporting you in that process. So we talk about grief. You know, there have been times where couples really, man, you know, well, she's controlling or he's controlling. And it's like, okay, well, did you know that, you know, they lost a loved one because they didn't answer that phone call. And that loved one was on the side of the road and you were the last phone call. And so now your partner is bringing this into the marriage and you see it as controlling, but they're like, no, it's something about, I have to answer my phone. I have to check my phone. Well, you don't care about me. You put everyone before me, but I have to answer my phone because I haven't dealt with the fact that I lost my brother because I didn't answer the call, right? And I will always, going forward, answer the call. And so sometimes we see behavior from our partner and we don't understand the root,
Mhm.
right? And so are you committed again to supporting your partner in doing that foundational groundwork, the person that you want to do life with? And so, yes, we definitely focus on that.
And Hassani, too, we want to be very honest and forthright that this is not this is not a projecting a fantasy, as a lot of people tend to do when it comes to the marriage. You know, and there's definitely space for that. But the challenge is that most people get married for the fantasy, but they get crushed by the reality when it comes to marriage. So what we want to do is to really help you to understand who you are committing and getting into a lifelong relationship with, and also how that person either complements or constricts you when it comes to the various things. There are going to be some things that your spouse provides for you that you don't necessarily like. I have a very strong accountability partner, right? And that sounds great on paper, but when somebody's asking me, hey, you got a doctor's appointment, or hey, have you renewed the tag, or hey, have you done then it becomes again one of those things that's not a part of the fantasy, but it is not less important, and it is something that I actually benefit from. So we really want to help couples as best as we can to really identify and get to the granular portion of their marriage, to be willing to and be excited about the process and doing the work and committing yourself to learning and relearning who your partner is over and over again.
I think what you just hit on is so important, like the fantasy that we're sold, right? So we have the wrong perception of what lifelong commitment in a marriage looks like. I say it all the time that, you have, for instance, women who celebrate the fantasy of being a bride, and they're thinking about the day and the dress and the cake and the honeymoon, but didn't really prepare themselves for being a wife. There's a major difference between being a bride and being a wife, being a groom and being a husband. And so in this program, I guess you're really going to unpack what that looks like. I have another question before we wrap up. I want to talk about change. Who I was is not an indication of who I'm going to be. And there's a process or a transition that I go through. And oftentimes people struggle with seeing their spouse through the lenses of their relational past. So we engage in confirmation bias, where I'm looking for confirmation of who you were because I still have this bias that I'm holding against you. So a part of the relational success is your individual transformation. How can one, if there are trust issues, if there are struggles based upon things in the past, what advice would you give to that couple who is going through their season of change and transformation to give their spouse, grace in the meantime, or their partner grace in the meantime, to become all that they're going to be so that they can have a successful marriage in their future?
So I want to open this up with a personal answer to this question. So I was having a conversation with Charmaine, right? And we were talking about our dating process. And there were some things that I had intended to accomplish personally that was going to be a part of our marriage. And I failed at those things. Those things did not happen. But what has kept us were my core values and my principles. And so those are the things that, again, when we talk about this premarital counseling in the program, is getting to know, again, what is driving this person. Because, again, sickness may come, unemployment may come, disappointment may come, addictions may come, infidelity may come. But who is that person at their core? What are their values? What are their principles? What is actually driving them? And if you have a really firm handle on that, then that will allow you to really weather the storms in your relationship.
One thing that I just will encourage every couple out there, and just individually, even if you're not in a relationship right now, you are in a relationship with yourself, to definitely, when it comes, to change, right, and preparing for that development process, right, that you're going to go through. Two things we want to look at. We want to look at the skill and the will matrix, the skill will matrix, pretty much. One thing we know when it comes to growth, change, and transformation, you can have a high skill set You don't have to have any skills at all. But the one thing you absolutely have to have is a will set. And so you can't coach someone, teach someone, move someone if they don't have a will set. And so when it comes to your relationship and your individual change and transformation, you have to have a will. And that is the challenge. I think sometimes we move in and out of will I or won't I, right? And we're trying to get our partner, we're trying to yield, to make them yield to our will. That's when you start to have some big challenges in a relationship.
And when we think about will set and skill set, so will set is primarily influenced by EQ, that emotional quotient. Skill set is primarily influenced by IQ. And so we're talking about being able to speak to both sides, just like with the question earlier. What you're experiencing is a will set. And that is going to be influenced. If you're not getting what you want out of your husband, then that is an EQ issue. Yes. So that is your area that you really want to focus on. He doesn't need more information about what he needs to be doing. What he needs is more of an emotional push, right? As far as with getting the type of result that you're looking for.
Wow. That right there, the way you comprehensively broke that down was powerful. So when you develop your EQ as well as your IQ, and bring those two together, it allows you to really move into RQ, which is relational intelligence. And so, wow, this is awesome. I can't believe that our time is up. Man, listen, guys, I hope you got something out of today's conversation. You were watching Ask the Experts. Hope you have an amazing weekend. Spend some time with your partner, connect, have good conversation, make good love, and let's start this week off right for another great episode on Monday morning. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Take care.